Well, hello, friends. We are here in the yard, Wally's being the guard dog, as per usual. And as you can see, we're kind of in hardware mode right now, or at least construction mode. I'm going to give you guys a quick update because uh, there's a lot going on, but also there's a lot going on, and I'm not entirely sure all of the answers just yet. But starting with the first thing, oh, here's Moose. We're finally starting to see some cooler temperatures, which is great. So I can actually come out and work in the yard without feeling like I'm getting a heat stroke. So that's nice. Um, you can tell sweet potatoes are starting to lose some of their leaves a little bit, so they must be getting close to done. This area is still a cluster, but what I'm going to be probably doing is relocating all of my green stalks. I decided we're just going to line them up here and I'll rerun the irrigation as needed. That's probably the last thing I want to do because what we're currently doing, as you might be able to tell, is we're refreshing some of the bins, and more specifically, we're trying to troubleshoot some of the problems that we had this year in regards to just not seeing healthy growing plants like we wanted. Excuse me, just eating my coconut core like a jerk. So part of the problem, I think, is I have this automatic watering system from Earthbox that is hooked up to all of these planters and this whole line. And what was happening was I just have it on really low, and the sensors all are working for the most part, and so they stop putting water in the bucket when the bucket's full, but there was never really anything drying out. And so I've had it off for almost, well, it has been a week now, and we haven't been getting a lot of rain, but you can still tell like a lot of this stuff is really wet. And I think we were probably maybe overwatering to a certain extent because the roots were just constantly wet. So what I'm doing is I have the water off, and we haven't really gotten a lot of rain lately, so you can definitely tell the ones that spend a little bit more time in the sun are starting to dry out. But what I've been doing is I haven't actually refilled any containers yet, but I'm emptying the containers into this kiddie pool that has some holes in the bottom, and then I've just kind of been doing a little bit of this every day or so, and then we help get the soil dried out quicker. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, instead of buying all new soil, because soil for 30 something buckets, even if I only did half of them, even 15 buckets, would be probably $1,000 if I had to guess at this point, because everything's so crazy expensive. So I bought, this is coconut core that has been rehydrated recently and taste tested by Moose. And so my thought is we will replenish some of this existing soil, some of this new coconut core, some perlite, maybe some, I don't have a lot of worm castings, but we'll mix some worm castings in. We'll make sure we get some good nutrients going in there when we apply fertilizer and the dolomite and everything in there. Each container as it gets replanted. And then for bins like the roses and some of the plant flowers, we won't pull them out necessarily. We'll just weed them and make sure they get, because a lot of the soil has settled a bit. And then we'll just make sure that they get topped off and a nice safe fertilizer boost. And then this whole thing here we're gonna work on later. But the big project, you can kind of tell here, is I pulled out all the planters and I've been weeding that whole back row. My experiment ran for about a year and it did not work out how I thought it would go. And that experiment was putting, instead of putting the weed barrier that you can see there that I started laying down, instead of putting those in initially, I went ahead and had put just layers of cardboard down, and ultimately that did not help with the weeds. The weeds still got through. So we're putting garden staples in, and we're weeding and putting down the weed barrier, and obviously my fence cover, my bamboo is deteriorating from the heat. So we're trying to figure out how to reattach that. But a big plus is our neighbor's tree got trimmed, so we're going to get a lot more sunlight over here. A lot of the vines that you see that were coming down from the tree are not going to be as much of a nuisance. So that's great. So I'm expecting we'll have much nicer just sunlight and all the benefits of sunlight. I'm hoping. I hope. So we're going to get all the bins refreshed and lined up. Then we're going to start replanting. We're going to try and work from seeds again to some extent, but then also I don't want to spend all year going through the same thing I did in this last growing season, where I couldn't get a lot of my seedlings to start, mostly on user error, like my fault. I don't know how seedlings work apparently. So we're going to do a mix of store-bought or nursery-bought, and then hopefully we can start some of our own. So a lot going on, but also nothing really specific to share. And then once I get this part of the yard done, I'm going to do the green stalks, and then the side of the house. I know we haven't really done where all the butterfly plants are, but we're going to be doing something similar. But moving forward, I'm going to be limiting how often they're really getting soaked and watered. But all this stuff is doing great, which is on a different system. Obviously, it's doing very well. Weeds and all. The jasmine is starting to grow, so that's great. But otherwise, yeah, nothing. There's a lot going on, but also nothing specific. Right, Moose? Yeah, there's a test. Hey, big guy. You give it a paw? Yeah, thanks. Good paw. Good talk, baby. And then Wally's been out here laying in the sun. So if you guys have any recommendations on how to amend your soil, I'd love to hear them, because I'm trying really hard not to buy more. Ooh, I did want to point out that I have been cutting the milkweed that I have in these bins because the little beetles are on them, but I'm going to be replanting and relocating the ones that are in my food bins that popped up for any number of reasons. I'm going to be putting them in my green stalks. And look at this. Look at those. Those are peppers. I did not grow them from seeds, but I did not kill them either. So that's exciting. Yeah, okay. We thank you guys for checking in the garden. It's the end of September, and me and the puppies are gonna go get back to work. All right, bye, friends. Right, Wally? We said bye.